classic bluegrass band is Bill Monroe's of the mid-1940s. He called his band the Bluegrass Boys and invented the style of music that we now know as bluegrass, and that's the acoustic guitar, acoustic bass, mandolin, banjo, and fiddle.
We are saying goodbye to you forever. I'm leaving your false love behind. The promise you made has been broken. You're no longer a sweetheart of mine.
You're both bluegrass guys. I mean, that's what you like. What can you put into words what it is that you like?
I like playing the music. For me, that's the most fun. And I suppose as a musician, when I'm watching a band and really enjoying it, I'm enjoying what they're able to do with their music and thinking that I could do that too if I practice long enough.
I don't think there's anything that can compare with the sound of acoustic instruments, wooden instruments singing out together. That sound really, to me, appeals to me very much, much more so than, let's say, an electric sound. Just the warmth and timbre of wooden acoustic instruments being played together.
Players' music, actually. We get together and we work on our harmonies and work on the actual instrumentation. And so it's a community that draws us all together. Two musicians meeting in the street to stop and play bluegrass music and have a good time at it and entertain people at the same time.
If you don't know another bluegrass musician and you hear a song play, can you join them and play right away?
Yes, you certainly can if you're into the bluegrass music. Most of the songs they pick up are good old standards back from the 1930s. Through the father bluegrass Bill Monroe has brought them down through the years, so they're traditional songs that anybody would learn right across Canada. You could go to New Brunswick and jump into a bluegrass group and immediately play right away for the standard songs, yes. Yeah. Anybody, even you.
They tell me you must read just what you have sown. Darling, I hope that's not true. For once I made plans about living alone. That was before I met you. I thought I was bringing the world by the tail. I thought I would never be blue. I thought I'd been kissed and I thought I'd been loved. But that was before I met you.
Go back to the bar down street there. Stay with your old honky-tonk kind. Go back to the life you've been living. You're no longer a sweetheart of mine. You're no longer a sweetheart of mine. 2, 3. You're no longer a sweetheart of mine.
I suppose to the people who don't know bluegrass, they say, well, it kind of sounds all the same. What would you say to people who say that?
Well, they just got to listen a little bit more carefully. It's true that a lot of the musicians train by learning licks and different pieces and putting it back together, so that a lot of the endings may be the same. Some of the pieces of the breaks may duplicate other pieces. But if you listen carefully, there are little nuances, little tricks that different musicians use to make each song and each styling quite a bit different.
The other thing, particular point that stands out in bluegrass are the unique harmonies, anywhere from 2 to 3 to 4 part harmonies, and some groups in particular that's what they're known for, their beautiful harmonies and the way they work their harmonies together.
I don't
feel much like being lonesome, but I guess it's the best I can do. It's a shame, it's a sin, love wounded me again, and I'm lost and I'm lonesome for you. I stay awake all night, no sleep do I find, but I'm on my pillow with you on my mind. I'm carrying the touch while my walls turning blue, and I'm lost and I'm lonesome for you. I don't feel much like being lonesome, but I guess it's the best I can do. It's a shame, it's a sin, love wounded me again, and I'm lost and I'm lonesome for you. I look out my window, wait for the phone. It's been a month and I wish to go. My mind's on the hand, but my heart is on you. And I'm lost and I'm lonesome for you. I don't feel much like being lonesome, but I guess it's the best I can do. It's a shame, it's a sin, love wounded me again, and I'm lost and I'm lonesome for you. I don't feel much like being lonesome, but I guess it's the best I can do. It's a shame, it's a sin, love wounded me again, and I'm lost and I'm lonesome for you. Oh, I miss you, see smile and your laughing eyes are blue, and I'm lost and I'm lonesome for you.
Who lives in Japan and wrote that song for his girlfriend.
Hard driving bluegrass, and we're glad to see that it's set some of these toes a tapping out here. Good job dancing there, kids. We like that. Keep it up. Keep it up.
One of the things about bluegrass I found out is the names. And Pumpkin Ridge, I would think, is one of the more colorful ones. Why Pumpkin Ridge?
There was a guy who started the band who lives in a place called Pumpkin Ridge on Pumpkin Ridge Road. After about 6 months,
it's a real place.
We fired him. But he already had
forgiven the name of the band.
He already had the business cards made up, so we kept the name.
Is bluegrass popular in Japan?
Yes, I think so. At least, many people play bluegrass and listen in Japan.
Hachi, how many banjo players are there in Tokyo?
Tokyo, in Japan, 5,000.
That's more than any city needs.
That's a good place for a scud attack.
The neat thing also about when you talk to bluegrass people is not only they seem to come from all walks of life, but the camaraderie. It seems to be a people music.
Oh, that's very true. I've been quite involved in other musics. I helped get the jazz festival going here, and I sometimes am in a jazz crowd. I don't feel hip enough. You know, I don't recognize the tunes right away, and I don't know all the people who've done it. There's such a wealth of knowledge that you need to have. With rock and roll, there's a bunch of different requirements to get into that club. With bluegrass, it seems that people from such a wide variety of backgrounds all have a way of coming together very quickly. It's just like blues. You've got songs to cover all the emotions, and you cover them in whatever style seems appropriate. I mean, it's music that I can listen to if I feel rotten and I want to feel better, or if I feel rotten and I want to feel more rotten, or if I feel good and just want to celebrate it. A bluegrass can fill all of those bills.
To show the world I died of grieving for her love I could not win. Oh, bury me, baby.
I guess I'm attracted to musics that have those kinds of boundaries, those kinds of frameworks, and it's interesting to me to see what musicians can do trying to push those boundaries, trying to work within some guidelines and then take it as far as they can. And with bluegrass, the boundaries are really getting pushed these days. It's lapsing over into a number of different categories, but the real stuff, you can still tell what it is.
All my life, I've wanted to know what flat picking is, and I think you're the band I should ask.
Well, I can try. It's a funny name, and I think a lot of people are intrigued by the name flat picking. It's a country expression that refers to the plectrum. Actually, the flat pick is, I suppose, distinguished from other kinds of picks. But it also refers to a style of playing. And let's see, where shall I begin? Flat picking actually has its beginning in the invention of this kind of guitar, the large-bodied, dreadnought-shaped steel string guitar in the 1930s. It was intended as a sort of orchestral-like rhythm instrument, but in the 1950s, people started to play lead music on it. They played fiddle tunes, they played Carter family type tunes, and you started hearing lead music played on this instrument. And the old boys in the country didn't like the word plectrum, which is the official music dictionary name for the pick. They didn't even like what it rhymed with, I think, and so they wanted to come up with a better sounding name for the music, and somehow flat picking came out of that. So it's lead music in a sort of country or traditional or folk or bluegrass style, played on a steel string guitar with a flat pick. Thanks a lot. See you guys tomorrow night. Enjoy the music. Thanks for having me on.
There's much less separation between the performer and the audience in bluegrass than I think any other kind of music. It's partly because half or more of the audience are frustrated musicians themselves. The parking lot picking is very much a tradition of a festival. It's not uncommon to go and hear music for 5 or 6 hours, then retire to your tent and play yourself for another 5 or 6 hours, sometimes with the very performers whom you just seen up on stage. I couldn't believe it when I first started going to bluegrass shows, and after his set, Bill Monroe would not only come out and chat and sign autographs and pose for pictures, but sit down and play with you. That kind of a bridge between the performer and the audience is, I think, unique to bluegrass, and one of the things that contributes to that feeling of camaraderie.
I think there are a lot of misconceptions about how music is learned, and I think that people make a big distinction between music that's learned from a teacher and music that's learned on one's own and so on. All of the great musicians teach themselves to play one way or another. This is true of the great symphony players and the great formal soloists. Even if they go to conservatory, I think they have to teach themselves to play. They have to be people of vision, people who love the instrument, people who go through the discipline. It's just that as you teach yourself to play, what kind of help do you have? And in the country, the kind of help people had was to get together and play music. and watch each other play and ask each other questions and share the music and sort of build a little music community. That is still the best way to learn. An old boy, a friend of mine named Lyman Enlow in Kansas City, is now in his 80s and an old-time fiddle player, extraordinary fiddle player. And one time I was with him and he said, "Dan, let me play you a new tune that I've just learned, or an old tune that I've just learned." And he played it for me and I said, "That's nice, Lyman. Where did you learn that tune?" And he said, "Well, I was over at old man so-and-so's house one Sunday afternoon and the old guys were playing their fiddles and I listened to this story and I thought, you know, he's not talking about recently." And I said, "Lyman, when was that?" "Oh, it was about 1917, I guess. I was over there." So I quizzed him about this, and as a boy, he learned this tune listening to fiddle players play, but he never figured out how to play it. And then when he was about 65 years old or something, he sat down and said, "Well, I guess it's time for me to learn how to play this tune." Well, that is, of course, fiddle players can do that sort of thing. They are people that understand and melody better than anyone, but everybody ought to learn to play that way.
I was listening to the other day in the market to a banjo and a fiddle, and I said to myself, that surely is the basic sound.
That's it, the banjo and fiddle. Those, as we now call them, old-timey tunes. They're all dance tunes. Sure, they're sitting around your parlor or your cabin porch tunes, but they also make you want to get up and move around, or at least tap your toe. And it's the fiddle banjo that's the classic combination.
Our traditional tunes that are sort of the basis of it have an interesting background. Part of the standard wisdom of that is that immigrants to this country brought tunes with them. The Irish players and people from the British Isles and elsewhere brought their music with them. But I've recently done some research and talked to some people who are doing some research on this and discovered that that's not the whole story. One of the places that the Irish immigrants got their tunes from was from black fiddle players in the post-slavery days in the United States, and it was the Irish and later the German immigrants who formed the minstrel shows that were formed to entertain white audiences sort of at the expense of blacks. When our band goes to Ireland to play, which we love to do, the Irish players love to remind us that all of our tunes came from Ireland originally. And in a way, that's true, except that some of them got to Ireland by way of the United States from Irish players who learned them from post-slavery blacks in the United States. So the history of that is kind of tangled, but there's been a lot of interplay of ethnicities and races and kinds of music in the States, as well as just a lot of white and black players, even though they were segregated from each other, sitting down together peaceably and playing music in the latter part of the 19th century.
Bill Monroe brought together a lot of different elements. The black music of the rural South, the old-time country music that evolved out of music from the British Isles, string band music, I guess is another way to put it. Using those instruments, often not 5 at a time, often just 1 or 2 or maybe 3 at a time. And the music grew up out of a tradition that was very much involved with the old-time country dance.
a wave to the band. Aren't they doing a fine job? And bow to your friends out there. That's the dance.
Your countryman, Marshall McLuhan, said in a book that he wrote called Understanding Media that when things got too crazy and there was too much data overload from too rapid change and too much exposure to the media, that people would cope with this by getting into counter environments. And art was one of those. And as he described art as all the more important when we're sort of overwhelmed by data and overwhelmed by change, he said that in times of rapid change, people will return to their roots in art. And he believed that was one of the things that would save us from being sort of data crazy in the contemporary world. I think bluegrass does that. It returns people to their roots, maybe in a way that their roots never were, but at least it gives them a feeling for it, reminds them of their original values, family values. And I'll tell you, anything right now in our country that will remind people of the value of family and of the value of being peaceable with each other and making music together as the way people ought to relate, I think it's more valuable than politics, religion, or anything else that has failed to remind people of those values. So to me, it's a good thing that country music comes to town if it brings some of that blue-collar feeling with it, because that's an important feeling to keep people from being nuts in a sort of nuts world.
You can expect more from CBC Radio in the afternoon. Colin Brewer offers an entertaining mix of music, information, and community stories. Take a break with the afternoon edition, weekdays from 4 to 6 on CBC Radio.
CBC News Final. Make it your news, weeknights at 11.
CBC Radio. Summer sounds like this.
Like a juggler, she tossed it, spinning in the air, caught it with her tiny hand.
Ear to the ground, the hottest sounds around. With Moist, Big Rude Jake, Lori Yates, Ashley McIsaac, the Mahomes, Rollins Cross, Jim Witter, Oz, Head, and many more. Ear to the ground, today on CBC Television. Check your local listings for times.
If you build it, he will come.
An all-star favorite returns to the CBC Sunday night movie.
Who's hearing voices?
Ray is. Not in the fields.
No, I'm not.
One man's quest.
You're broke, Ray. You sell now or you lose everything.
To keep the dream alive. Kevin Costner, Burt Lancaster, James Earl Jones. Field of Dreams. Tonight at 8 on CBC.